Being in the NBA was a pleasure for me because we saw these guys on TV when we were in high school and college, and here I was out here playing with these guys. I mean, I was excited just to be out there. That's when I first started picking up the basketball. But basketball wasn't my favorite sport at that time. Football and baseball was what I really loved. Basketball was third. You know, how it got twisted around, you know, probably because I started growing.
Bob McAdoo picks his 5 favorite players, and honestly, he was his own GOAT. But here's the thing. Bob McAdoo was statistically monumental, yet historically marginalized. He averaged 30 points and 15 rebounds in one season, a 3-time scoring champion. Yet when the NBA created their 50 greatest players list, Bob was initially left off, forgotten. That snub stung deeply. But that is absolutely exactly why his top 5 favorites matter so much. This list is not random nostalgia. This is a powerful statement. Bob did not just watch basketball evolve, he lived it. He played against these legends, with them, and coached alongside them. Superstar in Buffalo, journeyman in the late 70s, searching for respect, redemption story on Showtime Lakers, architect of championship culture as an assistant coach for nearly 2 decades. His favorites are Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Pat Riley, Julius Erving, and Kevin McHale. These 5 pillars supported his journey from misunderstood scorer to revered champion. They validated him when the rest of basketball did not. What ties them together is class, professional excellence, and dignity in how they carried themselves. Bob has drawn parallels between basketball and tennis, citing Arthur Ashe, Roger Federer, and Rafael Nadal. He believes greatness should carry dignity and ambassadorial spirit. That philosophy shaped every choice on this list. Quick thing right here. If you are enjoying this old school basketball and legendary stories of athletes who carried themselves with grace, use the hype feature and give this video some hype. That support helps reach more basketball history fans. Now let us dive into these 5 figures in reverse order, starting with number 5, Kevin McHale, the torture chamber master. The most surprising entry on Bob's list given the fierce Lakers-Celtics rivalry, but real recognizes real. Bob's admiration is rooted in pure craft and technical mastery of the game. McHale had devastating low-post moves that seemed incomprehensible to opponents. Up and unders, drop steps, long-armed finishes that appeared impossible to stop. Bob often defended McHale in critical finals matchups in 1984 and 85. These were brutal physical battles. McHale said something Bob never forgot. People forget how dominant Bob was. This mutual admiration is built on shared experience and respect between fierce competitors. Both were unstoppable offensive forces in their era. Both accepted bench roles for the greater good of their championship teams. Both understood that winning was bigger than personal statistics or accolades. Bob marvels at McHale's footwork as an artisan craft. In an era when big men relied purely on power and strength, McHale relied on leverage, angles, and precise pivot feet. Bob's game was built on finesse, shooting, and basketball intelligence. He appreciated McHale's approach completely. McHale represented one of the last true low-post masters, a dying art in modern basketball. They also share sixth-man heritage that bonds them deeply. Before McHale became a full-time starter, he was the league's premier bench player. He won 6th Man of the Year in 1984 and 85. Bob occupied that same celebrated role for the Lakers in those exact years. They felt a kinship, overqualified reserves who swung the balance in the greatest rivalry in sports history. A bond was forged in the trenches of finals basketball, where only elite players compete. McHale played on a broken foot in the playoffs. Bob played through various injuries in his later years. Both displayed the grit that binds warriors together. McHale's toughness resonated deeply with Bob. To Bob, McHale wasn't just a Celtic rival. He was a warrior worthy of the highest praise and respect. Number 4 is Julius Erving, Dr. J, the stylistic soulmate and parallel pioneer. Julius occupies a uniquely special place in Bob's heart, a contemporary who revolutionized the forward position parallel to Bob's own innovations. While they played in different leagues during the 1970s, they were spiritual siblings in the art of scoring. Both did things ahead of their time. Both challenged fundamental assumptions about what positions could be in basketball. Julius said something that stuck with Bob forever. Bob was doing things in the 70s that people think are new today, playing as a big man with genuine guard skills. Julius recognized this immediately because he was doing the same from the wing position. Both were prototypes of what would later be called a unicorn, players who could handle the basketball, shoot distance, finish at the rim with grace, regardless of listed height. Bob sees in Julius a mirror of his own struggle to be appreciated in the 70s, a decade often overlooked by basketball historians. The respect between them is deepened with the 1976 ABA to NBA merger context. When Erving arrived in the NBA, traditional purists were skeptical. Did ABA flash translate to the real league? Bob recognized immediately that Julius was the absolute truth, a fellow creative genius stifled by outdated positional labels. Bob's admiration is deeply tied to his concept of class. Like Arthur Ashe in tennis, Dr. J was an ambassador of dignity, a regal demeanor that elevated the entire sport of basketball. Erving's influence on basketball's cool factor is genuinely undeniable. As the league moved away from the plodding 60s basketball to high-flying 80s game, Erving was the poster child. Bob felt deep kinship with this new brand. They were the vanguard of the skill over size revolution. They faced each other in seminal finals moments. The 1980 finals featured Erving's famous baseline scoop shot. To Bob, Erving was ballet in basketball, pure artistry. The 1983 finals saw the Sixers sweep the Lakers. Painful for Bob, but it solidified his respect. Seeing Erving finally capture his elusive NBA ring, Bob understood the profound relief and validation from championship glory. It mirrored his own 1982 journey. Bob sees Julius as the gold standard for small forwards, just as he sees himself as a pioneer for the stretch four. Number 3 is Pat Riley, the architect of reinvention. Riley's inclusion shows his profound impact on Bob's life during and after his playing days. While Riley was a teammate of champions in the 70s, his ascension to Lakers head coach in 1982 altered the entire trajectory of basketball history. Bob describes Riley as a genius who fundamentally changed Lakers culture. Riley inherited a talented but undisciplined basketball team. His solution was rigorous, almost militaristic approach to conditioning and preparation, a philosophy that broke many players but forged Bob into the ultimate sixth man. Riley's methods were complex and demanding, practice sessions often more grueling than actual games, demanding unprecedented levels of body fat control and cardiovascular fitness. Bob notes something important about this partnership. When I got to Pat, a lot of players couldn't take it. I didn't have a problem with it. This alignment of values was absolutely crucial. Bob trained under legendary Dr. Jack Ramsey in Buffalo, already believed in fitness foundation, but Riley took it to an entirely new level. He extended Bob's career by forcing him to maintain a 25-year-old body into his 30s. Riley's obsession with preparation resonated with Bob's entire approach to scoring. Both shared a fundamental belief: fatigue is the enemy of execution. The Riley camp became legendary throughout the league, a filter separating true contenders from pretenders. Bob's thriving in this environment earned Riley's eternal respect. Riley once said Bob was the best sixth man. For Riley, the bench was a strategic weapon. Bob was its devastating warhead. Convincing a former MVP to come off the bench is fraught with ego-driven perils. Riley managed this brilliantly. He framed the role not as demotion, but as specialized duty essential for championship. He asked Bob to be a superstar for 20 minutes a night. Bob accepted because he trusted Riley's basketball vision. I had no thoughts about coming off the bench, Bob reflected, but I dealt with it because I had never been on a championship team. Riley honored this sacrifice by ensuring Bob played all crunch time. The bond extended decades beyond the Showtime era. When Riley built Miami Heat culture, he brought Bob as assistant for 18 years. Riley trusted Bob completely to instill the Heat culture, a direct descendant of the 80s Lakers preparation program. Bob won 3 more championships in 2006, 12, and 13. In Miami, Bob became the keeper of the flame, the man who told LeBron and Dwayne, "This is how we did it with Magic and Kareem." Riley provided essential structure to Bob's talent. Magic provided the spark, Riley built the engine. Number 2 is Magic Johnson, the catalyst of resurrection. If Kareem was the mountain Bob had to climb, Magic was the wind at his back propelling him upward. By late 1981, Bob was viewed by most as damaged goods, a high-scoring malcontent bouncing between multiple teams. Critics labeled him a cancer to basketball. They ignored the franchise dysfunction and blamed Bob instead. It was Magic who saw something completely different. Magic said something that changed everything about Bob's life. There wasn't a player in the league who could stop Bob McAdoo when he got hot. He was a superstar who sacrificed for the team. Magic famously lobbied for the Lakers to acquire Bob. He called Bob the missing piece. For Bob, being courted by the game's most charismatic young prince was genuinely transformative. Magic did not see a washed-up gunner. He saw a weapon that could make Showtime virtually unguardable to opponents. The relationship was defined by unique motivational dynamics. Magic, despite being significantly younger, commanded the floor with authority demanding excellence from everyone. Bob recounts a pivotal moment early in his Lakers tenure when he missed several easy shots. Magic approached with a smile and steely warning. You miss again, baby. It ain't coming to you no more. I got them up out their seat. You supposed to send them go crazy. That's right, knock that shot down so they can go crazy. This interaction encapsulates why Magic is a favorite. Magic simplified the game for Bob. No complex system to memorize, no hierarchy to navigate, only the mandate to run and finish. Magic would say, I got clever on my right. I'm getting ready to do something. Using Bob's nickname, this clarity allowed Bob to shed the burden of carrying a franchise. The 80s Lakers were a symphony orchestra. If Magic was the conductor, Bob was the first violin. When Kareem rested, the Lakers sped up. Magic and Bob formed a devastating transition duo. Bob's ability to run like a guard despite standing 6'9" made him ideal for Magic's bounce passes. Bob credits Magic with creating the easiest baskets of his life. This gratitude is profound from a three-time scoring champion who fought double teams in Buffalo and New York. Magic's playmaking genius unlocked Bob's transition game unlike any point guard could. The 1982 and 85 championships are Bob's crowning achievements. He draws a direct line from those rings to Magic's influence. The 85 title against Boston was particularly sweet. It vindicated Showtime against East Grit. To Bob, Magic represents the ultimate teammate, the superstar who makes everyone else better. This ability to elevate the collective is why Magic sits firmly in Bob's pantheon of respect. Number 1. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the rivals turned teammates and historical competitors. To understand Bob's deep reverence for Kareem, travel back to the mid-1970s, a period where these two titans stood completely alone at the sports summit. The mid-70s were defined by statistical warfare between Buffalo's McAdoo and Milwaukee's Kareem. Bob cites Kareem as the toughest competitor he ever faced in basketball. This comes from attempting to defend against the most unstoppable shot in basketball history, the skyhook. In 1973 to 74, young Bob exploded onto the basketball scene, averaging 30.6 points per game, capturing the scoring title. Yet in MVP voting, he finished second to Kareem. Despite Bob's Braves winning 42 games to the Bucks' 59, this dynamic forged deep competitive respect between them. The admiration stems from Kareem's complete inevitability. Bob, a varied scorer relying on jump shot and explosive first steps, marveled at Kareem's mechanical perfection. His skyhook was impossible to stop. No defensive scheming could neutralize a weapon released from such high apex. For a defender like Bob relying on quickness and timing rather than brute bulk, Kareem represented the ultimate puzzle, one that could not be solved, only endured. The relationship demonstrates mutual professional validation. Kareem said something validating Bob's entire career. Bob McAdoo was the greatest shooter I ever played with. He was a pure scorer who could get his shot off against anybody. From the all-time leading scorer, this validates everything. Bob has argued he is the godfather of the modern stretch big man. In an era when centers stayed in the paint, Bob pulled from 18 feet, ran the floor in transition, took defenders off dribble. To have Kareem acknowledge him not as just a scorer, but as the greatest shooter is ultimate vindication against critics. Their relationship shifted dramatically when Bob joined the Lakers. The basketball world viewed this union with skepticism. Could two ball-dominant players coexist? The answer lay in role evolution. By 1981, Kareem was Lakers' patriarch. Bob was humbled superstar-seeking championship lifeline. Their partnership was contrasting big man play. Kareem operated as the anchor, the low-post fulcrum around which everything revolved. Bob, coming off bench, provided perimeter scoring bursts. When together, Bob's 15-footer drew defenders away, clearing lanes for Kareem to operate. Conversely, Kareem's gravity allowed Bob to dash to rim without meeting a rim protector. Bob's admiration grew witnessing daily discipline required to maintain Kareem's late 30s performance. The yoga, the diet, the mental preparation, rivals turned teammates. A complete professional relationship, from fear and respect of a rival to camaraderie and gratitude of a teammate. Between 1972 and 76, they monopolized the league's offensive output. In the 70s, they were combatants. By 1982, they shared champagne. Bob's reverence is rooted in gratitude. Kareem's longevity validated Bob's struggle to remain relevant. Seeing Kareem dominate at 38 gave Bob the blueprint to contribute meaningfully into his mid-30s. Bob emphasizes Kareem's class. When the NBA battled reputation for drug abuse and disorganization, Kareem stood as a dignity pillar, an intellectual, an activist, a consummate professional. For Bob, who valued classy people like Arthur Ashe, Kareem was the basketball equivalent, a man who let excellence speak for itself. These are the 5 essential pillars of what Bob respects most in basketball and in life. The validation of positionless basketball, the idea that skill supersedes defined roles and traditional boundaries, the rehabilitation of the sixth man role, transforming it from perceived demotion to tactical necessity for winning championships, the bridge between 70s and 80s basketball, raw talent of one era combined with the discipline and structure of another, the class metric as a defense of dignity. These 5 are mirrors in which Bob's own greatness is clearly reflected. They are teammates who embraced him, coaches who directed him, and rivals who pushed him to be better. In their reflection, we see Bob not as just a scorer, not as just a stats machine, but as a true connoisseur of basketball's highest arts. A genuine hoopstorian, a legend who finally found peace among giants. This list is a powerful rebuke to history erasure and dismissal. Reminds us that before the three-point revolution changed everything, giants walked the earth. Men who could hook from 15 feet with precision and touch, pass through a keyhole with perfect touch and vision, glide from the free throw line with elegance, drop step through double teams with advanced footwork. Bob McAdoo was one of them. His 5 favorites are the company he keeps in the exclusive Immortals Club. If this story resonated deeply with you and moved you like this video, subscribe for more old-school basketball greatness and legendary stories. And comment which of these 5 picks surprised you the most. These stories truly matter deeply to understand basketball history. This history matters. Bob McAdoo's entire incredible journey, from completely forgotten to finally recognized and validated, matters profoundly. That is the real and lasting victory that transcends all championships.